Hari Om, Bhaja Govindam chanting, verses 16 to 20.
अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनमथवा दानम् ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन मुक्तिं न भजति जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. There is a quick question we have. When we talk about giving up attachment to material things, I'm reading the quick question. When we talk about giving up attachment to material things, how do we make sure that we are doing so really, not as a sour grapes situation? That means we try hard for material success, but don't achieve it. Then we realize, or think we realize, it is futile and give up trying. Giving up should not become a means of escape or hiding failure, but needs to come from genuine realization. How do we tell the difference? What is the difference? Difference is realized upon two things. One, when you are dropping that. If you are dropping it after meeting failure, you can take it for granted that it is grapes or situation only. After repeated attempts, I attain and I try, and I fail. Repeated failure, not one failure. What I mean is repeated failure. So when you go on failing in your efforts, a point comes where you have to reconcile to the fact. That is a time we start talking philosophy, saying as though it is, that's not philosophization, we call it as rationalization. Because you have to digest your failure. Your ego is not able to accept the fact that you are not going to succeed. You don't have the capabilities. It has to accept the fact. How can it accept? It cannot accept. Therefore, it starts doing what? It starts saying, see, you're not getting it, you see. Why? Because you are not fit. Instead of saying, I am not qualified to get it, or my efforts is not, it starts attacking the success. That's how we identify. You should know the difference between challenging my capabilities and understanding that am I overstepping myself or what vis-a-vis this. Say for example, you have the capacity to speak. Okay, now I am speaking, I am teaching to people, I give a lecture. When I'm giving the lecture, there are about 10 people sitting, 30 people sitting, 50 sitting, and suddenly you put me in a place, in an auditorium where there are 3,000 people sitting. Now 3,000 people you have to address now. What happens? You feel a sense of discomfort, a sort of fear comes. In fact, I feel it every class. Right. But the 3,000, the size, you see, I'm so comfortable speaking to 30 people, but you put me to 3,000 people, it is a different equation. You see, 30,000 is a very different equation. You have to address a, gathering of 3 lakhs. Now 30 to 3 lakhs is totally different, you see. You need to develop your capacity to hold the 3 lakh audience. Your capacity to hold 30 audience is different from holding 30,000 people. To have this capacity is different, isn't it? Similarly, I have the capabilities of doing business which is of this level. When you are thinking with reference to your current capabilities, I'm not talking about can you enhance it or not. Of course, you can enhance it over a period of time, but it cannot happen overnight. Yesterday night, I was capable of handling 100 crore business. Next day morning, I wake up, I have become qualified to handle 1000 crore. Projects are not same, you see. Construction business is very easy to understand. Putting up a 4-story building with 60 by 40 site is totally different from developing a layout, isn't it? About, I remember our Prasad mentioning to me once, about 35 acres, saying this is. In 35 acres, you got to build a house, which is totally different from 60 by 40 site. We had one architect in Mysore when we built a house. You tell him 35 acres, he can't even understand what is 35 acres actually. But he can give a very good design with reference to that 60-40 site. Having that, 4 floors, building, dynamics is totally different from 40 floors. Imagine a house building, in Bombay we have the sky, next to that India Bulls built apartments, 43 floors. You know, in that 13 floors were only parking. And how the cars will go to the 13th floor? What is the equation, and how water is going to be pumped to that 40th floor? And in that terrace they had a swimming pool. It's how you are going to have a construction dynamics for that quantum of water to be held by that building there in that height. Dynamics is very different. When you are thinking with reference to your current capabilities and your current project, you are analyzing about your thing. I take it for granted I am cut out for that only because of some external parameters. I am not able to get it. That is called justifications or rationalization. In that, one of the most powerful way used by a lot of people is to start criticizing wealth itself, criticizing success itself, and say money is not everything. Yeah, correct. Money is not everything. But when you should say that? Before the effort or after the effort? During the effort? Or after continuous failure? Repeated attempts, repeated failure. If that is a point you are going to say, you have to say what? I don't have the capacity to pass that CA exam. Therefore, I quit. Don't say CA is not everything. See, this is one. Another aspect we take here is when you are dropping that, your effort is to take up something or to drop something. Is your focus on, yes, I said this is not, material success is not, okay, then what? If this is not, is it vacuum or something getting replaced? That is a quick question. It's like a fellow saying, I don't want to marry this girl. Okay, you can say that. You have the freedom to say, I don't want to marry this girl. Okay, then are you saying I am not going to get married itself? Or you are saying I don't want to get married to this girl? There's a difference, right? Now, when I say I don't want marriage at all, then what are you going to do? If you say that I don't want marriage at all, then you have to take the next step of what? What are you going to do then? If I say that I am not interested in that external success, material success, then what? Then what do you want? We have to replace it with I want inner success. I am going to strive towards inner success. Therefore, I can't afford to divert my energy, waste my efforts in chasing this external success. It has to be replaced with something. If there is no replacement, we can say this is sour grape situation only. I keep on viewing this girl, that girl, this girl. 70% of the girls reject me, and Another 30% I rejected. And this attempt went on for 9 years. Now, what is your age? Now, in the marriage market, your value is dropped. Now, nobody will be willing to marry you. Then the fellow says what? I am not interested in marriage. I am not interested. No. You can say that. But you have to parallelly think in terms of, then what are you interested in? You cannot say, I am not interested in anything. If I say that I am not interested in anything, then that is reconciliation. That is somehow trying to rationalize and digest the fact that I am not getting what I want in my life. These are the two parameters with which we can identify whether it is a sour grape situation or it is a genuine feeling of not interested in the material success. This rule can be applied to anything, a sour grape situation or not. Is it pseudo or genuine? Now, I am not interested in something. Now we keep on claiming so many things. I am not interested in it. Why? The old man will say, hey, don't keep looking at girls. Obviously, why? No girl will look at you. Now that fellow starts giving lecture. Who cares? You see, then we say what? You have lost your capacity. The criteria should be this. Two factors you got to consider. Do you have the capacity to get it anytime you want? Yes, no, doubtful. Factor number one. I'm just repeating what I said. Factor number one is your capacity, not the criticism of that object. It's not material that's the problem. I might cut out for that. That is a great question. So first thing you have to consider is your capability. 1. 2, as a replacement, what I am going to do? Do I have the choice? In that sour grape situation, there is no choice, isn't it? When there is a choice, I should say no. When I am not having a choice, I say no. There is no meaning. In Tamil, there is a saying, they say, Bandiye illanna yala kiriselrana. In the traditional one, so South Indian weddings, if you go, they have this, plantain leaf, they serve food. That first batch, second batch, that's called pandi. They are not going to serve food itself, first of all. And this fellow says, you see, the leaf is cut. Whether you have a proper leaf or it's a cut leaf doesn't make any difference. Anyway, food is not going to be served. What's the point? Like that. You must have the choice. When there is a choice, I say no to this. When I say no to this, immediately you have to think to what I am saying yes then. Because there is no such thing called I say no and come to neutral. Remember, in life, there is no such thing called a neutral situation. Neutral stand. There is no such thing. But we all believe in that. What is it, sir? You have to be neutral. Now, in what can you be neutral? What is that girl's name? I'm forgetting that girl, Nirbhaya, no? That girl in Delhi. When you hear the news, what is a neutral stand? What do you say? Do you take a neutral stand? We can't take the neutral stand. who is supposed to take a neutral stand? In that case, there is one party who is supposed to take a neutral stand. Who is that? Only the judge. Only the judge is capable, should, qualified for, expected to take neutral stand. No one else can take a neutral stand. It is not possible. We cannot take the neutral stand. Till you become the judge, till you reach that position of what? Sir, who is the judge? A fellow who doesn't judge anybody is called a judge, isn't it? Is accused, that's all they will say. He will not judge him. See, so in life, anytime you are taking a stand, ask this question. There is no such thing called neutral for you. As on date, you don't have that choice of neutral, because once you go to neutral, you will never come out of that neutral position after that. You are just there, full stop. You can't say in one area I am neutral, in another area I am not neutral. There is no such thing. If you are a neutral, you are a neutral in all dimensions of your life. There is no, field here. With reference to this, I am neutral. With reference to that, I am yes. To this, I am no. There's no such thing. Either yes or no. Yes or no. Every no corresponds a hidden yes. Every yes corresponds a hidden no. So when you say, I'm not interested in material success, what is the hidden yes? If you are not able to get that hidden yes, you can take it as, sour grapes situation only. That's all. It is based on these two parameters we decide whether it is a sour grape situation or it is a genuine one. Okay. One more question. No. Through indulgence, we cannot get rid of desires. It makes it bigger. Can you elaborate on this, please? Yes. You see, indulgence means indiscriminate repeated contact. That's called indulgence. Anytime you are going to use words in thinking, this is the first principle. Whenever you are reflecting, whenever you are analyzing, reasoning, thinking, first thing you have to do is this. Define the term first. What do you mean by that? So we use the word indulgence. Indulgence means what? Indulgence means indiscriminately I go on repeating the contact. One. Two, when I am going to that object and during that contact, after the contact, what I am doing. This is critical. I repeat, follow me carefully, because this is a very, very important aspect. In fact, that's what in the verse also he is explaining, verse 15 of Bhajagovindam. That's what he is saying. The indulgence is the concept here. Point number one, indulgence means you are going through a particular contact and you are repeating that again and again indiscriminately. Indiscrimination means what? Without reference to so many things, without reference to the context, the object's availability, my situation, my stature, my responsibility, my capability, nothing I consider. I just go and contact, full stop. I don't care. I want it, full stop. So the person goes through to this. How he is going, sir? Repeated indiscriminate means without reference to context. Repeatedly doing something. No, that's not what is referred here. Because so many things in life we go on doing repeatedly. So repeated contact by itself doesn't qualify for indulgence. No, sir. Then it should be repeated, and the repetition also should be happening in a particular context, climate. What is the climate, sir? Indiscrimination. Again, we define the word indiscrimination. You see that? Repeated contact, we don't have to worry about. Repeated means it's a very normal word. What is it, sir? Again and again doing. That's it. So that's called repetition. No. Can that itself qualify for indulgence? No, no, no. Along with that, one more thing happens. What is it, sir? Indiscrimination. What is indiscrimination? Without reference to context. What are the context? For every contact, there is a context. When I come and sit in the class, I am supposed to come in a particular dress code. Correct? Expected. But not that, immediately, some basic decorum should be maintained. This is context. You see, in this context, I am like this. Now, that doesn't mean 24/7 I will be having this same thing. No, I would change my dress. When I go for jogging, I go in a different costume. There, I don't go with this dhoti, kurta, and then I go for jogging. No, there I go with my shorts and t-shirt. That's the context. When you are at home, you are in particular dress. When you go out, you are in a particular dress. When you go to a party, you dress yourself in a particular way. When you go to a temple, you dress in a particular way. When you go to a funeral, you dress in a particular way. Your dressing is what? Based on what? Context. See that? That situation. Without reference to a situation, when you do something, that is called indiscrimination, which means you are not understanding what is that situation. Is this matching? You see, now my knowledge of Vedanta is not going to change based on the dress I am wearing, isn't it? I will get Vedanta only. Now, I genuinely thought, I asked one master, one Guruji, I used to go and meet him. Asked him, Guruji, unga strength Allah that, he had, on chapla they have, this bhajans people when they sing. He had one chapla, jingles, like, not cymbals. Cymbals is a different one. This jingles one they have. Chapla we call it as. I asked him, is your strength is in that or what? Because every time I see him, the moment he takes that and sings, he was appearing very different. He said, hey, it's got nothing to do with that. You take it out also, my knowledge, my musical, my inspiration is going to be the same. It's not dependent on that. But every time, like army man, see, when they come in that uniform, there's difference. You see, why is it? That in that context, they are supposed to come in that. That's it. One. Second factor is what? Just now I told you. What is it, sir? Capabilities. 2. Am I qualified? Am I capable of this contact? 3. Is it appropriate for me to contact? 3. All this needs to be factored. Any repeated contact you go through without factoring in all these things is called indiscriminate contact. Okay. So point number 1. What is it, sir? Indulgence means repeated indiscriminate contact. So when I do that contact repeatedly with reference to that particular object, without the context, without my capabilities, without my obligations, should I do it or not? Nothing of that I factor in. I just go ahead and contact. 1. Second point is this. Indulgence means it includes this also now. Second factor of indulgence is before the contact, during the contact, after the contact, what do you do? Before the contact, what are you doing? The scriptures give a beautiful example. They say, before the contact, it gives the example of a lady. Marriage is fixed, engagement is over, and marriage is another 1 month time. During that 1 month time, what this lady will be doing? What this girl is going to do? What is her thoughts will be always? Same thing for the boy also. What is his thoughts? See, marriage has not happened yet. Okay. It has not yet happened. But what is he thinking? What is she thinking? Which is to the context or what? It's not a reality. What is she doing, sir? She is going on imagination. Visualizing so many things. Imagining so many things that is going to be happening to her mentally. All this imagination, right? Before the marriage. Before that, what is he doing, sir? Before the contact. You have bought the ticket for Bahubali movie. Right? 2. Bahubali 1, you have no idea what is going to be, and you see the advertisement. You have seen the advertisement. And Bahubali 2, there is a huge question. What is it? Why did Kattappa kill Bahubali? Why did Kattappa kill Bahubali? Amazing question. With which he left the movie. This Bahubali 1 beginning. What are you doing? You are imagining so many things. Right? During the contact, where is your focus? During the contact, what is happening in the mind, mentally? You will not even know what is happening. You are completely knocked off during the contact. Best example is TV, movie. When you are watching the movie, during that movie's time, what had happened to your mind? Even if it is a boring movie, still what will happen to your mind? Switch off. You will not be aware. There is no alertness. You are not alert enough to the things happening around you and the things happening within you during the contact. After the contact, what are you doing? Mentally reliving that experience. Example, first time a fellow goes abroad and comes back. don't ever go to their house for 6 months. Why? If you go enter their house finished, they will show 500 pictures now. At least in the olden days, Kotak film you have to take, develop, and you will not know how to insert it. So 30 rolls only, 32 pictures only you can take. If you are real expert, you can go up to 34 clicks you can take. Then bring that, give it to that photo fellow and develop it, negative, print. And the print also will have only one print he can give. So you put it in that album, you will get how many pictures, sir? One album means about 30 pictures you will have, that's all. So how many albums you can create? You can create. Nowadays we have this mobile, this one, and in the mobile they take camera pictures, and the fellow gives his mobile and says, keep seeing all the pictures. This is not like that. This is super, that is super. This is not the case. That's not the case. All that we keep saying about what? See, the experience is over. Now, post experience, what are you doing? Mentally reliving, which is what we call as lingering. So, before the experience, imagination. During the experience, knocked off. After the experience, lingering. What will happen to your desire for that object? Desire for that experience? You will get the answer. Through this, is it possible for you to get rid of the desire for that object? Desire for that experience? Desire for that object means what? Desire for the experience that object gives you. That's all. Before I imagine, post I linger. And repeatedly I keep on doing this. Now you fuse first point and the second point together. And see what happens now. The first point we said what? Indiscriminately, without reference to context, any of those things, you want to go through that experience. You want that experience to happen again and again and again. Why? Lingering. Before the event, imagination. So no capacity, no availability, no context, but you force the repetitiveness of that experience. What is going to happen to you internally? Can you be relaxed? Can you be free? It's impossible. You will go on and on. That's called desire. I told you, desire means what? Hope of getting satisfaction, pleasure, fulfillment out of something. The hope of getting that fulfillment is called a desire. That repetition you want, the repetition you want, the repetition you want. But that law of life is what? What is gone is gone. You can't get it again. Repetition doesn't exist in nature. But your mind will want what? Repetition. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That wanting of that repetition is called a desire. How can you get it repeated? Because the first time when you have experienced, there is no reference. Therefore, it is a surprise. First time you read Sidney Shelton, there is a surprise. Second time you read him, what is it? There is no surprise. But you want that same excitement of the first reading, second reading also, third reading also, fourth reading also. That expectation is called a desire. Wanting that excitement, expecting that excitement, hoping that excitement will continue. It is not possible. Why? Because first time when you read, you don't know who is the villain, who is the murderer. You don't know that. He'll introduce this, he'll introduce that. It's a suspense thriller. Now, once that is over, once you have seen, once you have read the whole thing, second time when you read, there is no excitement. Similarly, you come to Harry Potter, first time you read X, second time you read, there is. Fourth time, seventh time, no. Shakespeare, 25, 30 times you can read perhaps. After that, what? After that, what is it, sir? Nothing. Ramayana, Mahabharata and all you read, and read about 100 times. You come to Bhagavad Gita, you can read 500 times. You go to Upanishads, you can read any number of times. Doesn't make any difference. It will look afresh every time you go through it. It's not possible here. It's possible there. In the world, it is impossible that you can get that thing. It defeats the law of nature. Since your desires are defeating the law of nature, your desire always remains unfulfilled. It always remains unfulfilled. And that's the problem of indulgence. Through indulgence, your desire never gets satiated. There is no satiation to it. Why? Essentially, it is indiscriminate in nature. That's what we say. There is no direction or dimension to your mind, to your desire. There's no direction to it. There's no dimension, the quantum. There's no dimension, volume. This much, no more. No. You'll go on asking more and more and more. That desire will never go through this satiation. So through indulgence also, you cannot. And beautifully, Shankara builds the ideas. I'm just saying Shankara. Of course, each verse is given out by one disciple. That is a separate one. But we take it as it is Shankara's works. Full stop. We don't go through, we don't go by. But just for the information purpose, we understand this is being given out. We don't know. You know? But the tradition is that these people have given out. But overall, the text is attributed to Shankara. So I keep on using the word Shankara only. That's about it. Okay. In Bhajagovindam, he says this desires and beautiful sequence he gives here. The steps. First, Shankara explained the problem of samsara. Then he has told what's the problem of samsara. Samsaric problem is because of desires. So how do you get rid of desires? He gave a solution also. You know, for introverted people, one solution. For extroverted people, one solution. If you are an introverted person, go through self-inquiry. If you are an extroverted person, start from satsanga. That's it. Solution also he has provided. Stated the problem, given the solution. The moment you hear that, first reaction from everyone is going to be what? If you are following Shankara, Bhajagovindam, what should have happened to you by now is what he is giving 14, 15, 16, 17. If this 14, 15, if the sequence is not happening to you, means you did not hear Bhajagovindam itself. What to do, sir? Go back to first verse again. It should have happened to you by now. What should have happened to you by now is the moment you get inspired about something, the first thing everyone does is overdoing that. That's the mark of your enthusiasm. You have to overstep. See, you have to take up things beyond your capacity. That's what he gave in verse 14. What is the fellow? He is not qualified for sannyasa, but he takes up that sannyasa. Why, sir? It's not that he wants to put up a show or anything, please. Genuinely, he's doing it. Over enthusiasm. First thing will happen to a sadhak is he will become over enthusiastic. When he becomes over enthusiastic and overdoing things, to him advice will be given by the masters. What? I'm doing all this, man. Just relax. Chill out. Like in the academy, standard advice by Swamiji. Any new student comes, go and ask him, Swamiji, wow, what are we to do? Eat, sleep. That's all. I could follow 50% of his advice. Sleeping. Eat, sleep. You're given a fantastic room, right? There's a bed, there's a mattress, nice mattress, and breakfast you don't have to worry about. It's cooked and kept there on dot. 8:30 breakfast means it's a record in the world, I would say. Guinness record. For the last 32 years, breakfast, lunch, dinner on time. Every day. They say, sir, it's impossible that something can be done with such meticulousness for 35 years. Even at your home, you would not be able to do it. Where you cook only for 3 people. Only 3 people have to have. That too, what, sir? You have only what? Toast. You're just making a toast for breakfast. That comes late. Here for 60, 70 people, they cook on average. Now, of course, this is 120, it goes now. The number of students there. With the servants and all that we had is 150. For about 150 people, the cooking is going on and served on dot for years together. Just go, eat, bed is there, lie down and sleep. That's it. Over enthusiasm, advice always given is what? Trace your steps back. When you trace your steps back, where you will go? Tuck, you go to the other extreme. What is the other extreme taken by this fellow, sir? Immediately he does what? Indulge. So, first he hears about that spiritual discourse and this master's exposition and all that. First thing will happen to him is what? Wow. Overstepping. When he oversteps, the guru will say what? Hey, first of all, you can't stay there for a longer period of time. It's not possible. So you'll start feeling that pinch of it. You'll start feeling the pain of it. Then what you will do? Trace your steps back. When you're tracing your steps back, where will you land? You will jump from there to this. Why? Because mind moves on extremes. One extreme is this. You tell him, hey, don't go there. Immediately mind goes to where, sir? Indulgence. Next one is what? That is not this. To the fellow who is in this, next comes. This is verse 15. Okay. Verse 16, the fellow goes to the another mistake he does. You tell him, hey, don't indulge, man. Why are you indulging? Oh, I should not indulge in that. No, correct. Now what should I do then, sir? He will start physically renouncing things. Physically drop. That is the picturization here of the person who says, okay, now what I'm going to do? Now I'm not going to put up a show, nor I am going to be, it is neither this nor that. So what I'm going to do now? I have to drop. What can he drop? He can drop only the physical things. That is the state here, physically attempting to practice renunciation. Verse number 16. Agrevahnihi brishtevanuhu ratrau chupuka arpita chanu karatala bhikshas tarutala vasa tadapina muncha tyasha pasha. Fire in front, the sun behind, knees tucked to chin at night, receiving alms in palms, living under trees, yet the band of desires leaves not. This is given out by the student named Subodha, supposed to have been. We don't have any clue of who he is and all that. We just know only this name. That's about it. Since there is no works being directly attributed to him, we are not able to say anything. Now he is giving a picturization of a person who has renounced the physical possession of things. He has renounced all that. I'm indulging. Hey, don't indulge in it. When he says, I'm not indulging, immediately he goes to what? Oh, if I should not indulge means where should I go? From this extreme to the next one. What is the next mistake he does? First, overstepping. Second is indulgence. Third error he makes is this. This fellow does is, he says, if it is there only I indulge. No. If it is not there, there is no problem, right? Therefore, what I'm going to do? Drop it. Drop all the possessions. Get out of all these things. Physically renounce everything. Yes. A very beautiful picture is picture of an ascetic. Because you can drop the things. Even in dropping it, your mind will think of only worldly things. Even in the spiritual practices, your mind will convert it into worldly. That's the technique of mind. Mind is far more intelligent than you. Remember, mind is so much intelligence it has, so much of cunningness it has. You have no idea. It's a fascinating one. What is the message he is trying to give here, sir? Says, please understand, the central theme is here in this verse. Self-denial is not self-control. That's the message here. Central idea of verse 16 is, denying something is not equivalent to control. We believe in denial. If that is the case, all the Rakshasas we have studied, the Asuras and Rakshasas, we study in the Puranas, who have done tapas. They have had tremendous control, In fact, you would have seen, Indra sends the damsels to disturb the tapas of Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, and all those people. They did not fall. Whereas Vishwamitra fell. So who is bigger? Hiranyakashipu is superior to Vishwamitra, is it? No. But then what? What is the difference? Still, we will not agree that Hiranyakashipu was doing tapas. But definitely he is having tremendous... What is he doing, sir? He is denying it for a period of time. That's about it. That self-denial is not this giving up the joy, arising from the objects. Is this, what happens to that person, sir? In the Gita, he calls these people as mithyachara. Physically abstained. But mentally, what is he doing? Mentally thinking of that object. That's what he says. Yet the band of desires leaves not. Still, this asha pasha, it's bound. This asha, this desires, asha, it means the rope. It's bound. It's bound by these bands of desires. And this desires causes what, sir? How do you know you are caused? You say, yeah, philosophy, these people will also talk philosophy beautifully. They will also say, yeah, correct. It is not, this desires is not, I'm not having this, I'm not having that, all those things. But still, internally, what is happening to them, sir? The craving, the demand for that experience, demand for that object, demand for that exists. Only difference will be what? You would say that I am not having possessions of those things, and now what will you have? You will have a possession of a, what is that? Apple Watch. The fellow says what? I have dropped all the desires, but now he has a desire for what, sir? Gadgets. Right? Now, some of them don't have this desire. Now, you have this desire, he has that desire. That's about it. I have a desire for this, a desire for that. How do you know you are still attached? You are still caught up. How do you know that, sir? One question we ask. Is your mind preoccupied? Because the desires, the presence of desires and attachment causes the mental preoccupation. See, occupation is not wrong. That's what this fellow thinks. He thinks occupation is wrong. Therefore, he leaves the occupation. That's what a lot of people say. Now I have decided to close down my business. Why? I'm going to turn spiritual. I'm going to close down my business. He closed down. He goes to Rishikesh. After 6 months, what he is doing? One fellow gives a suggestion in the ashram. One fellow gave that suggestion to Guruji, who's Guru. Guruji, we are getting these Rudrakshas here, original Rudraksha. In Chennai, people were not getting original Rudraksha. They are getting all duplicates. So, if we sell that Rudraksha there, fantastic. Of course, we are serving only. What is he doing? Instead of selling motorcycle, he is selling Rudraksha now. That's all the differences. Instead of selling it there, you are selling it here. Instead of maintaining the business accounts, current account in the business name, you are maintaining what? Trust account. That's all the differences. Then what it is better you maintain the business account itself. Why do you have to move to this place here? It's not that place. It has got nothing to do with the displacement. This occupation is not an issue. It's your preoccupation that's the issue. It is not your occupation that the problem is. It's your preoccupation that the problem is. When we say preoccupation, what do you mean, sir? Means your mind is constantly thinking about your three things will come. Anytime we say preoccupation, remember three things. Either you are constantly thinking with reference to your possessions. What happened to my car? What happened to my this? What happened to that? What happened to this? What happened to the stock? What happened to my mutual fund? What happened to my insurance? What happened to my this one? What happened to that? All the possessions of yours. One. Or there's another group of people. Of course, you will have all three, remember. But which one will be, dominating a person will vary. That's all. But anytime you think of preoccupation, it's only three things. You don't get preoccupied with anything beyond the three. Either it will be with reference to your possessions, or it will be with reference to your relationships. What happened to my son? What happened to my grandson? What happened to my granddaughter? What happened to my mother, my father, my wife, husband, neighbor, brother, uncle, aunt, someone or the other, a friend, enemy. It could be anybody. Your mind is occupied with reference to that when you are not dealing with it, when you are not interacting with this, or with reference to your actions, with reference to your doings, with reference to your transactions. So preoccupation means your mind is thinking with reference to your possessions, your relationships, or your dealings. One of that. Sannyasa means what, sir? Sannyasa has got nothing to do with the station. It's to do with the state of your mind, where your mind no longer has any preoccupations. Your mind is occupied, not preoccupied. Occupation is different from preoccupation. What is the difference? You don't have to ask me one more question. What is the difference there? How do I know the difference? If you have ever tasted occupation, you will know the difference. How do you know? You should have tasted it. If you have never tasted that, how will you know? You will never know. Sir, what is the difference between gulab jamun and rasgulla? Both are sweets only. Both are Bengali sweets only. Both will be made with milk. This one. But then what is the difference? How will you know the difference? The difference is based on, in occupation, you deal with what is there right now. Once you move out of that experience, you don't think of it. Your mind doesn't reach about it, which is what I referred in the other context as lingering. Lingering is what, sir? Mentally reliving that experience when the experience is over and you have moved to the next experience, which means with reference to the current experience, you are absent and you are very much alive with reference to the dead experience. This is what people call as live in the present. What do you mean live in the present? You can't live in the present. Why you can't live? You are lingering. Not to linger over that is called living in the present. What are we doing, sir? Preoccupied. Now, dropping that preoccupation of the mind is called a sannyasa. What is the mind preoccupied with? Three things: possessions, relationships, transactions. That is why a sannyasi doesn't have any possessions with him. That's what he has done here. What is it? Fire in front, sun in the back, and knee stuck at the chin. Means what? It's so cold, which means he is not even having a blanket to cover himself. He's not having anything, poor fellow. And beautifully he describes one more step. He says, receiving alms in palms. There's no begging bowl also for him. Can you imagine? That's what this great, Nagarjuna supposed to have done. This Nagarjuna, he saw one day a dog drinking water from the pool. He saw that, the dog drinking water. When he saw that, he said, my God, the dog knows how to drink water from the pool. Why am I carrying begging bowl? Dog appears to be more independent than me. I am dependent on the begging bowl for me to beg. Now the dog is not even having that. Who has greater freedom? The dog seems to be more free than me. He says. And he broke that thing and he walked out. There's Nagarjuna. His life, they say. Is it true or false? I don't care. But it's a beautiful idea. Drop it. Now, what are you going to drop? He says. Now, when you are thinking of it, where is the focus? Where is your idea? Your mind is preoccupied. Physically, you have moved out. It's not going to help. Like, what is it, sir? Life is a dewdrop. Correct. Don't you know that? Yes, of course I know life is a dewdrop. And yet, says a poet, life is a dewdrop. Yes, I have perfectly understood. Life is a dewdrop. And yet, he says, because the poet, poor fellow, he lost his wife, and in a very short span, he lost his kids also. The beloved wife is lost, and his daughters he has lost. And the fellow didn't know what to do. He was completely lost. And they told him to go and meet a Zen master. They said, you go and meet that Zen master, they will help you. So he went to see in Japan. They write this poetry, haiku. They write short, just 4 lines. That's it. There, the fellow went to Isaac, I think, that poet, Isaac. He goes to meet that master. The master says, hey, life is what, man? Life is a dewdrop on the blade of grass. It just disappear. Before you see, it will disappear. As you are seeing it, it will disappear. Nothing can be done. He said, when he came back, he wrote this. He told him, yes, master, I have understood. What? What have you understood? Life is a dewdrop. I am perfectly convinced. I am thoroughly convinced. This life is a dewdrop. And yet, this haiku and all, they're very short poems. They write just 4 lines. That's all, nothing more. But very, very, pregnant. Yeah, correct. But yet, what, sir? Desires leave. It's not. He has dropped all the possessions. The mind is still preoccupied with this. What are they, sir? In the Bhagavad Gita, he calls these people as Mityachara, hypocrites, hypocritical fellows. You are not supposed to drop the objects. You are supposed to drop the value you have added on to those objects. The subjective value addition that you have added on to that objects, dropping that is called renunciation. It's not dropping the object. Objects dropping is not renunciation. It's the subjective value that I have given to it. That exaggerated value that I have given to that object. If I drop it, that is renunciation. After that, I may possess, I may not possess. That's a different equation. That has got no connection. I may have it, I may not have it. Who cares about that part? But all of us take that as an excellent excuse and say, what? I want to possess. That's one thing. This fellow is not like that. He is genuine. But Still, what is it, sir? Pashyannapi chana pashyati muda. Still, he doesn't understand. Still, he thinks what? Why this whole confusion? Because the fundamental ignorance is continuing. What's a fundamental ignorance, sir? There are two dimensions to life. One is spiritual, one is materialistic. Remember, there is no such thing. Either you are spiritual everywhere or you are materialistic everywhere. There is no such thing called every Sunday morning I become spiritual. Every Saturday evening I will become spiritual. There is no such thing. With reference to them, I am spiritual. With reference to him, no. Either you are arrogant or you are humble. It has got nothing to do with who you transact with. You are humble means you are humble always. You are arrogant means you are arrogant always. But all of us have these two distinctions, isn't it? I am humble with reference to few people. I am arrogant with reference to few people. I am spiritual sometimes in certain dimensions. In certain dimensions, I am materialistic. That fundamental division when you have, you will fall into the trap of what? Physical renunciation. You can't escape. We'll meet on Friday.